The Philippine Health Department says Metro Manila is now at minimal risk for COVID-19, nearly 2 years into the pandemic. At a press briefing Friday, December 10, Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergere says the capital region's recent cases per day is 6 times lower than July. It was in July when COVID-19 cases reached 628 cases per day in Metro Manila. The Health Department says the country also remains at minimal risk classification. Vergere says all major island groups and NCR plus areas show a flat case trend in recent weeks. In terms of hospital admissions, the Philippines' total COVID-19 beds capacity is now at low risk with only 20% utilization. Despite the continued decrease in cases, authorities remind the public to continue following health protocols, especially with the threat of the Omicron variant. Some lawyers of groups petitioning against the anti-terror law says Friday, December 10, the ruling of the Supreme Court on the controversial law is a consolation they do not deserve. The Supreme Court upheld most of the anti-terror law, voiding a killer qualifier that would have exempted dissent from the definition of terror only if it has no intent to cause harm. With the intent qualifier removed, the phrase now says dissent is not terrorism. Some lawyers and petitioners call it a win. But Virginia Suarez, lawyer for women's groups, says otherwise.
We do not deserve mere consolation from the Supreme Court. We deserve more than that. We deserve protection from the Supreme Court. Hindi, sa dami ng argumento, sa dami ng petitioners, it's like we are all mistaken giving all those arguments para bigyan lang ng dalawa.
Suarez says the exemption on dissent is not true because they've seen how the Anti-Terror Council implements the law. The only other part that was voided was the second mode of designation under Section 25, which is designation based on another country's request. It retained the unilateral power of the Anti-Terror Council to designate based on its own determination without having to go to court. Evelyn Ursua, lawyer for the journalists and artists, says this decision does not mean anything.
Walang kwenta yun dahil may absolute power pa rin yung Antiterrorism Council na umaasta ng korte at in fact mas mataas pa sila sa korte.
She refuses to call the ruling a partial win, adding that framing it as a victory in any form might send a message that Filipinos can relax a bit. Lawyers expressed intent to file a motion for reconsideration to continue to appeal that the law be struck down in its entirety.
Need more context, clarity, and perspective? Get the full picture with Rappler Plus. With exclusive content and events, you'll get an opportunity to discuss issues with reporters, experts, and featured guests while helping Rappler continue its fearless journalism. Join now.
Presidential aspirant and Vice President Leni Robredo on Friday, December 10, unveils her job recovery plan dubbed as Hanap Buhay para sa Lahat. Robredo presents a detailed job recovery plan hinged on 5 main themes. These include regaining trust in government, reviving Filipino industries, ending discrimination at work, supporting small businesses, and cushioning the impacts of unemployment.
Mahirap ang buhay. Gusto mong guminhawa. May mga pangarap ka. Handa ka magsikap para matupad ang mga ito. Kaya ang gobyerno dapat hindi hadlang, kundi katuwang mo. Sa araw-araw mong pagkayod, dapat kakampi mo ang gobyerno.
Also part of her plans is supporting micro, small, and medium enterprises or MSMEs. Robredo presents her job recovery plan with veteran labor leader Sonny Matula, who is running for Senate under Robredo's slate. Robredo is pushing for unemployment insurance, where unemployed Filipinos would be able to receive 80% of their 3-month salary to help tide them over. Rappler CEO Maria Ressa calls out tech and social media giants anew in a press conference on Thursday, December 9, a day before receiving the Nobel Peace Prize.
If you're in tech, please stop the lies. That's the core part, right? I mean, part of the reason journalists are under attack has been that same system that was first used for marketing is now being used for geopolitical power play, for information operations started by Russia.
Ressa has been reporting on disinformation and how social media platforms have been used to spread lies and spew hate. She has since sounded the alarm on how tech giants favor lies laced with anger and hate that spread faster and further than facts.
What's changed is that what kept it objective in the past was the entire process of the news group. A reporter, an editor, a sub-editor, a managing editor, right? A very expensive process. In the age of the internet, that expensive process gets distilled to a page view. What happens to us when the distribution of lies outpaces the distribution of these expensive evidence-based stories?
She highlights how important it is for newsrooms to find ways to collaborate. In the case of the Philippines, Ressa mentions that dictator's son and presidential aspirant Bongbong Marcos has been leading pre-election polls. As early as 2019, a Rappler investigation has shown the Marcoses have been using social media to release massive amounts of propaganda in a bid to rehabilitate their image.
If the social media platforms don't do enough, the disinformation networks, and I'm very specific in saying disinformation, it is meant to manipulate us. This will be the battle for facts. And the way that what we have seen since 2015 is a chipping away, death by 1,000 cuts of history of our democracy. And we will see this play out in our May elections.
Ressa receives the Nobel Peace Prize along with Russian journalist Dmitry Muratov on Friday, December 10, in Oslo, Norway. Filipino-American figure skater Sofia Frank qualifies for the 2022 International Skating Union Junior World Championships on March 7 to 13 in Sofia, Bulgaria. Frank is the first Filipina in 8 years to qualify for the annual event. She eclipses the minimum technical scores of 23.0 in the short program and 38.0 in the free skate at the Santa Claus Cup held in Budapest, Hungary. In the junior women's division short program, the Colorado-based skater finishes 23rd out of 43 skaters. She registers a total segment score or TSS of 42.97 with a total element score or TES of 24.09. She impresses in the free skate event by placing 9th after recording a TSS of 99.94 and TES of 52.21. Frank books the lone spot for the Philippines as each nation can only send one male and one female to the World Championships. The 16-year-old Filipina was one of the 2 skaters who represented the Philippines in the 2022 Winter Olympic qualifier Nebelhorn Trophy last September.